Welcome back. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive for the time being. If you're new here, welcome. I have an awful, garbage, filthy mouth where sometimes, just sometimes, I tend to use the word fuck as a comma. I know it's disgusting and I need to be stopped. So if you're not into that or weird stuff in general, this is not the place for you. Feel free to exit the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember our time fondly. Pumpkins, I have a tag video today, yay! I really love doing tag videos. I should do more of them. If you actually know some tag videos that are currently out right now, and maybe I'm just oblivious to, let me know down below because I would love to do them. I just love talking nonsense, you have no idea. The Eyeshadow Palette Tag is actually created by the wonderful Allie, Glines, and Samantha March. I've also seen some of my fellow colleagues on here have done videos as well, and so on and so forth. If you are interested, I'll link down some videos in the description box along with the questions. So if you want to do the tag yourself, everything will be listed in the description box. With that said, here's the first question. Show your newest palette. Okay, all right. So I technically have two, but the other one's not as exciting, so I want to talk about the one that's exciting. The other one I'm referring to, the Jungle Lights palette from Flower Beauty. That palette first came busted to hell, and then I had to ask for a replacement palette, and then I got it, and it's fine, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful, whatever. Another Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips recommendation that is just perfection. But the palette that I want to talk about is from By Terry, and I placed this order so long ago. And it finally arrived, and it's all due to the pandemic, which I'm not mad about. But I almost forgot that I ordered this, and I was like, oh, I guess I did get it. This is probably the prettiest palette I have in my collection. I don't even want to use it, okay? Look how beautiful this palette is. I can't even touch it. I want to touch it, but I can't touch it. I can't touch it. I can't. I think this is the palette that's gonna have to go in the grave with me. It just has to. In a future video, I will happily do some sort of review or bite-sized review or something, but I can't promise you when that's gonna be because these fucking pan designs, they're everything, sis, okay? I can't. Oh my God, so good. And it feels so nice in my hands. I just love this. So that would be my newest palette that I received so far, and I can't stop looking at it. It's so beautiful. So the next question is show your oldest palette. This is from Kat Von D, aka KVD, Vegan Beauty Love Puppet, whatever. This is the Saint and Sinner palette. I love this palette, okay? I try to do a good job of decluttering things, and if things just don't work for me, I usually pass them off to friends, families, blah, blah, blah. If things are gently used, obviously they go to the shelters. I think everything unfortunately has kind of come to a standstill with COVID, so things have been interesting in terms of donating. But with that said, one of my favorite palettes that I have in my collection, the quality is still pretty good on the palette, I would say, ironically enough, considering I've had this since probably, what, 2017, I think. She's a little chalky, but for the most part though, she's still pretty good. The reason why I kind of can't part with this product pretty much, yeah, see, she's still really fucking pigmented. It's just a real shame because, sorry, that green was a little funky. It's just a shame because the quality on the older palettes is so good, and it just unfortunately did not hold up. Ugh, what a shame. But this palette's really fantastic, and the reason why I also kind of hold on to it too is that my mom actually purchased this for me. I remember this is probably at the time was one of the most expensive things that I had in my collection, and I was just like I'm going to treasure it. Now I'm buying palettes that are over $100 being like, oh, whatever. I remember there was like a good time where this was like one of my favorite palettes, and I love the quality of it. I think that's why I won't get rid of it. It reminds me of a time when this brand was actually not that bad. Oh my God, I'll give you some more swatches too. Oh, I love that fucking color, it's so good. So that's my oldest boy in my collection. I don't think I'll ever get rid of him. The next question is, what is your most expensive palette? It's this bitch right here. This is the Viseart Grand Pro Volume 3. When Beautylist dropped their Lucky Bag this year, I freaked the fuck out because in the extra large Lucky Bag, which is the one that I purchased, there was a rumor that you were gonna get this palette. So I was like, oh, finally, like divine intervention. I really want this palette, I'm gonna get it this way. Of course, that did not happen for me. Instead, I got a really, really shitty fucking Lucky Bag. And if you wanna see that, I'll link it up in the corner there. So I was kind of a little bit butthurt about it. When the Sephora Rouge sale came around, I was attempting to pick this up, but decided ultimately, you know what, even at 20% off for $175, that was too much. Luckily, my girl Dana mentioned to me that there was a site called, I believe it's called Muse Beauty Pro. They had a wonderful deal. I think it was either 30 or 35% off of this palette. And I was like, you know what? It's still high, but I feel a little bit more comfortable spending that price. So I picked up the palette that way. And honestly, glad that I did. I can see why this palette gets recommended. Also, this is another palette that Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips told me that I needed to buy. So I'm very, very glad that I actually listened and picked this up. This is fantastic. The swatches are not the best, but who cares? On the eye, they look fucking fantastic. There are a lot of beautiful yellow tones, especially like this bottom row here that I'm obsessed with. Same thing with the orange row. Some of them are not gonna be that great, so I apologize. They don't really swatch the best, but I can assure you that on the eye, they look fucking fantastic. The other thing too that I really, really enjoy about this palette is that you're able to combine the colors to create new colors. So instead of some palettes where, you know, if you do that, it kind of comes off like brown, muddy shit color. Even though you're getting a shitload of colors, you can actually create even more. So it gives you a lot of variety. This is fantastic. If you are interested in picking up this palette, you know, even at the $175 price point, while I really do enjoy it, I don't necessarily think it's worth it at $175. So if you do find this on sale, I recommend picking it up when it's on sale. If you're looking for like a colorful matte palette, look no further. This is pretty fucking good. So the next question is, what is your most affordable palette? And that is the e.l.f. palette. This boy retails for $3. Yes, so the last palette was $175. This is $3. I love this palette. I really don't like e.l.f. eyeshadows. I always have a bad time with them until I tried this palette. This palette has been fantastic. I can't even. If you're looking for like a bog queen moment, oh, bitch, look no further. This is your palette right here. I actually wound up ordering a bunch of the mini palettes along with the new J Kissa palette. So I cannot wait to get those. Of course, I'll do a video in the future. I'm excited to see if the quality of this palette is like those palettes that I purchased, because if they are, yo, fucking game changer. Between this and Profusion being the most affordable in my collection and the quality being top notch, it like literally blows my mind. So I highly recommend checking out that jalapeno palette, especially at the price point. It's so fucking good. The next question is, show your everyday palette. It's this. I love this palette so much, and I'm so happy that when you babies do find it available and you do pick it up from Sephora and it does exceed your expectations, it gives me nothing but satisfaction. Between this and Lethal Cosmetics, I'm like, I know, I don't lie. This is so good. I love this palette. This palette to me is just like pretty much everything that I ever needed in a palette. You have a nice array of neutrals, you have a fun pops of color, you have some neons in there. The metallics are fantastic. Let me swatch you some of the metallics. The shadows in itself are so incredibly soft. Oh God. Oh my God. The yellow is so good. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to see that duochrome over my knuckle because it's literally like the same color. But you see that little like light peachy shift? Oh, it's so good. It retails for about $60, which is, you know, which is a lot, especially for a Sephora brand, because you're like, bitch, that's not gonna be good. This though, holy shit. I still can't get over how good this is. I need to buy a new one. I'm running out of space, y'all. I can't get over how good this palette is. It's disturbing. Like, come on, are you fucking kidding me? This is so good. I can't. It's bulky, but there's a really nice mirror. It stands up on its own, and as you can see, there's a lot of color combinations here. The quality is fucking top notch. This is a palette that I need to repurchase because I'm so sad that I don't have a backup. Like, what am I doing? If you happen to see this in Sephora and it's still available, I highly recommend it. So the next question is, show your most colorful palette. You know, this is the kind of a question that I had to think about because I feel like I own a lot of colorful palettes. The reason why I actually even purchased this one is because this one actually has my favorite yellow of all time. And this is from Colored Rain. This is the Vivid Pigments and Shadows palette, which I know for a period of time it wasn't available, and then I purchased it when it was on sale. I love Colored Rain shadows. I think they're really fantastic. And this right here is just so good. The best yellow in the whole goddamn universe. It's everything I ever wanted to be in a yellow. Like that green, like come on, like that's ridiculous. That's a peach color. If you happen to find yourself on the Colored Rain website and you see this available, definitely pick it up, especially if you're on a hashtag quest for yellow. This is the best yellow you will ever use in your fucking life. It's so goddamn good. So I would say, yeah, this is one of my favorite colorful palettes. It was kind of an unfair question because I have so many, but I have a lot of small palettes. I have a lot of like the Natasha Denona mini palettes. I have the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette, but I technically think this is smaller than those palettes, and this is the Fenty number 7. Yeah, 7 in Cadet. I had 2 Fenty palettes, but this is ultimately the one Fenty palette that I actually really like the quality of and I decided to keep. No surprise, it has obviously a yellow and that weird, you know, white to yellow gold shade that I just fucking love so much. You know, the quality on the palette is fine. Is it my favorite? No. It'll get the job done, but I feel like there will be better things in my collection and in your collection. You don't really need this palette, but it is adorable. It's tiny. She's cute. And I like the whole kind of component of this. I like how the palettes lock in together to make a fun little Transformer Happy Meal. That's cool. Not enough for me to actually purchase another one to make this a fun McDonald's toy. So, yep, So the next question is, what is your biggest palette? And that is the Bombshell Cosmetica Candylicious palette. Funny story. Actually, I don't even know how funny this really is, but this brand, I don't think exists anymore. And I was actually had an affiliate code with them. Never made a dime off of it. So that happened. So if anyone did purchase anything, know that I never saw any money from it. But this is my biggest palette. This is my biggest palette. And you know, the quality on this is fine. I really love the whole aesthetic of the palette. They also did have like a burger palette. That was fine. It wasn't as good as the Glam Light palette. Like that palette's fantastic. The quality of that burger palette was meh. The quality of this palette compared to the burger palette is leaps and bounds better. But this is something that you can't even get anymore because I think something shady happened with the owner. I think the owner was like dodging customers, and next thing you know, like the website, the page, everything was gone. So if you actually know the backstory to that, let me know down below because I'm curious. What can I say? I'm a nosy fucking bitch. The green was actually my favorite thing in this whole palette. The other colors were fine, but they weren't anything revolutionary. But again, I always have to swatch that yellow. Y'all know that. But this green now. This green was so pretty. Kind of reminds me of that green that was supposed to be in the Shane Dawson palette a little bit. But yeah, that's the true standout here. So yeah, so this is my biggest palette. It's just obnoxiously huge. Like you can't really store it in any of the drawers that I have. I always had to put it in my side container storage because it was never any room in the other bins that I have. I guess it doesn't really matter anyway since this is not a brand, so oops. The next question is, show your palette with the best memory. Now this is gonna come to either no surprise or surprise, depends on how you look at it. Now I thought long and hard about this because I have a lot of palettes that invoke certain memories in me, like, you know, when I got my promotion, what palette I wore, when I got this apartment, what palette I wore to sign the lease. Like I thought about all those good memories. The thing that always stands out to me is the palette that I hate the most. To me is the best memory because for me it was like the first video of mine on YouTube to hit 1,000 views, and this was back in what, May of 2018 I think. That was a big deal, all right? Big deal. And I remember just being so excited and like losing my shit and being like, oh my God, like people are watching my video, they're hating me. It was great. I have to thank Tarte Aspen Overard palette for that very reason. I've had people actually ask me if they could purchase this palette, and I'm like, no, I can't. Even though I don't like it, I will never declutter this palette because to me this serves as a special moment in time for my YouTube career. And it got me excited to continue to stay on this platform and keep doing shitty makeup reviews. So thank you, Tarte. Thank you and your basic ass self. This is basically what the palette looks like. My mom actually picked this up for both of us on Mother's Day. She loved it because of the outside, and even though that the color story was albeit very neutral, there was still something kind of pretty about it, and I was just very tempted to try. I think the best things about this palette actually are the blush and highlighter portion of the face palette. Highlighter is fantastic. But these colors though, they like, honestly, I was having a hard time for them to show up on me. It was pretty fucking pathetic. Like the brown shade was like the only thing that really showed up. Everything else like, meh, not so much. To me, this is my favorite memory. I love this palette because it's so deliciously awful. Thank you, Aspen. I owe you everything. The next question is, what palette is worth the hype? It's this one. It's Natasha Denona. I know. But this is actually my favorite big Natasha Denona palette. Everything else, I've always liked the minis more. This is so fucking, it's so good. It's so good. I wish the quality of this was always the same quality. Fortunately, not so much. That shade is so good. There was a shade by ColourPop called Moonwalk. I don't think they make that anymore. It is a dupe of Natasha Denona quality. I will say is better though. It doesn't dry out like the ColourPop one does. The beautiful gold gross tones is just fucking, it's everything. I love it. But even like these like glitter topper shades, they're just so fucking sparkly on the eye. They don't irritate me at all. They are just fantastic. A lot of people were hyping this palette up, and I can assure you that the fucking hype is real. If you do ever see this palette, I recommend checking it out, especially if you love this color story. This is by far the best Natasha Denona palette ever in my eyes. And I really, really, really wish that the quality would have stayed consistent with this one, because then I would literally keep all her palettes instead of sending them back. So this is so good. I love it. So the next palette I want to talk about is one that is not worth the hype. It's Melt Cosmetics Smoke Session. No surprise there. I am not going to swatch this one. It's messy, and I actually have to do something about it because it exploded. If you aren't familiar with the saga of this palette, as you can see, you saw a little bit of that crumble out there. Yep. Oh god, it's so gross. I don't know why they puffed out. They're like little puffy vaginas. It's disgusting. So this palette, I purchased it, super excited, and then while on camera, it actually fell apart, right? Before my very, very eyes. Very, very upsetting. So Melt was kind enough to send me a new palette, and I was like, awesome, great. Same fucking thing pretty much happened. So I just don't think it's worth the hype. And it's crazy because I know a lot of people love this palette and they speak so many good things about it, but holy shit though, like it's just so, like just moving my finger back and forth. You see that? What the fuck? Like, why does it do that? It's a shame though, because these colors are absolutely stunning. They're so beautiful. Like, I literally just moved it with my finger. It's funny because I'm always like tempted to get this palette. Like, I'm always like, you know, maybe I should fucking get it again. Maybe I should try it again. Every time I look at it, I'm reminded of that, and I'm like, yeah, even though it's beautiful and it's a swamp bitch's dream, I don't think it's ever gonna be worth it. So I'm gonna say a big ol' no. I don't think it's worth it or worth the hype for that very reason. But hey, if you got one of the good palettes, that's awesome. But this is a shitty palette number 2 for me, so I don't think so, Tim. Show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. Comes as no surprise that Lethal Cosmetics is one of my favorite brands in this entire universe. I fucking love them. My favorite palette is actually the Hive palette. It's so good. And that's what it looks like. And the reason why I can't really show you what it looks like is because I have been taking all of their eyeshadows and I put it in this giant compact. So this actually, if you're curious to know where to get this giant book, I believe it's from Adept Cosmetics. This is fucking everything. It's amazing, and it houses all my adorable Lethal Cosmetics shadows in here. The greens are so good in that palette. I love Lethal Cosmetics. I would say that that is my favorite palette from that brand. I'm excited for them to push out more stuff because I just fucking love them. I love you guys. I love them so much. So the last question is show your most used palette. And for me, that would be the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. This is the palette that I will use time and time again because I just love this fucking color story. And when I first got this palette, I did not like it. I sent it back and then I purchased this again. The ingredients on this palette is definitely different from the first palette, and whatever they did to it, they did a beautiful job, and that's why I love this fucking palette. I use this a lot. This is like my color story to a T. I love things that are like just neon and grungy and gross. I love the different tones of yellow. This is one of my favorite shades from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and that's the white shade Cube. Is that it's like a nice transformative shade. This is an awesome palette, and I'm so sad that they stopped making this and you can only get it at Marshall's or TJ Maxx or whatever. If you do see it, I highly recommend checking this out. If I ever came out with a palette, honestly, it would be like a color story like this. So goddamn good. I love it. And with that said, that is the end of this tag. Let me know down below what you thought about all the eyeshadow palettes that I talked about. And if you are interested in doing this tag, all the information will be listed in the description box. And yeah, I guess that's about it. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Discord, Patreon. Thank you so much to my beautiful patrons. I love you so much, and thank you for continuing to keep this garbage boat afloat. I appreciate it. And if you're interested to know how to join Patreon along with everything that I talked about in this video and where to get my merch and what is currently on my face and all that jazz, everything will be listed in the description box below. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Continue to stay safe. Bye.